at that time of year, guys. The best and worst lists for movies of the year. I cannot wait to give you my list for these. I will not be seeing anything else in 2024. Even some 2024 new releases like The Fire Inside or Complete Unknown. Just won't have time to see them this year, so I'll have to see them next year. But we're going to get right into this list. This year, I was able to narrow it down to 10 movies instead of 15 like the past couple of years. And even then, that was hard. So because of that, I have a whole list of honorable mentions that could be a video of its own. So let's start with those honorable mentions. And there, like I said, there's a lot. And those honorable mentions are Wicked, Juror Number 2, Hitman, Deadpool and Wolverine, I Saw the TV Glow, Inside Out 2, Love Lies Bleeding, Orion and the Dark, The Fall Guy, Alien Romulus, Saturday Night, A Quiet Place Day 1, Civil War, Arthur the King, Monkey Man, The First Omen, Suncoast, Ultraman Rising, and Kill. So like I said, a lot of honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut, and I considered making a list of 15, but I was able to narrow it down to 10, and those 10 are, starting at number 10. Conclave was a movie that really surprised me. It's a career best turn from Ralph Fiennes and really cements director Edward Berger as a force to be reckoned with, coming off of All Quiet on the Western Front and now directing Conclave, and I think being in the conversation for Bond 26, if we even get Bond 26, because Amazon is being stupid. But what makes Conclave so memorable for me is its mysteries, its investigations, all of its backstabbing, and this Game of Thrones-esque type of story that is being told. Really makes for a riveting conspiracy thriller. Rebel Ridge has to be probably the best action thriller I've seen in years. Rebel Ridge features a really likable protagonist going up against a bunch of asshole antagonists. It's a man who is in the wrong place at the wrong time, who had the wrong thing happen to him, and now he is on a quest for vengeance. And the spurts of action really explode. It is a very tension-filled movie filled with great performances and antagonists that you hope really get what's coming to them against this one-man wrecking crew. Challengers had to be one of the strangest films of the year for me, and that's why I loved it. This is a very interesting dynamic between three characters that all three of them aren't really likable, but Challengers is proof that you don't have to have likable characters to have a very good movie. As long as those characters are really fleshed out, they can be really, really good characters. And that was the biggest challenge that Challengers had to face. It's also got a really unique editing style, a very frenetic editing style. The way some shots are composed are really interesting. Challengers is definitely one I gotta rewatch very soon. Number 7 is Nas Veratu. This is one that stuck with me. I had just seen it a couple days ago. I did a short review of it. The more that I thought about it, the more that it stuck with me. Robert Eggers is a fantastic director. It's not my favorite of Robert Eggers' filmography, but the more I think about it, the more I'm really starting to like it, even without a rewatch. And I said that in my short review, that sometimes with these Robert Eggers films like The Witch, The Lighthouse, it really takes me a couple of viewings to really appreciate them. But I'm really starting to appreciate Nas Veratu without a second viewing because it is so well staged. It feels like a very original horror movie when it's really not. It's a remake of a silent film from 1922 with Robert Eggers' signature stamp on it, this cold gray color palette that captures Gothic era to the best that I've seen on screen. If you haven't seen Nosferatu, definitely see it in a theater near you. Horror was definitely on a completely different level this year. Longlegs works on two levels. It is a very well-written, well-rounded psychological thriller, but it is also a very well-rounded psychological horror. This is my favorite horror movie of the year, with a career best turn from Nicolas Cage, who is perfect for the role of this serial killer Longlegs. It really just irks you to the bone. It rattles your nerves with jaws of steel. It doesn't come across as a ripoff of other films like Seven. It really feels like it is its own thing, and the haunting finale will stick with you long after the credits roll. Number 5 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This was a movie that I had no expectations for going in. It was very much like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a great start to a new era for the Planet of the Apes series. It's got action, it's got heart, it's got humor. Even if it may not be as good as that previous trilogy, it's got really great new characters that I feel like a whole new trilogy can really build around. Even if it is not as good as that previous trilogy, this is still a very good entry into the new age of Planet of the Apes. Strange Darling has probably got to be the most unconventional movie of the year, told out of sequence, which makes the movie even more riveting and more thrilling than it already is, in an intense cat and mouse chase with Kyle Gallner being as awesome as he is. But Willa Fitzgerald, I had no idea that you could play up to this game. She is phenomenal in this movie. It is a wicked killer of an indie flick that Kyle Gallner champions on social media without ever being in your face about it. That is what you call great promotion. Now, call me crazy for putting Dune Part 2 at number 3, since I wasn't the biggest fan of Dune Part 1. But that has changed now that I have seen Dune Part 2, and Dune Part 2 is a movie that has stuck with me the more I thought about it and the more I rewatched it. Dune Part 2 is immaculately shot. It is immaculately directed. Denise Helming of the action sequences in this movie feel a lot more intense in this movie compared to the first one. Dune Part 2 also has one of the best character introductions of the year. Probably one of the best character introductions I've ever seen in cinema. It defied all my expectations and all my theories going into this movie, which is why I think it stuck with me long after the credits started rolling. Bring on Dune Messiah. I flip-flopped number 1 and 2 at the last second. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. We did not do this movie any justice at the box office because it is so damn good. Probably with Dune Part 2, the most well-made movie of the year. George Miller has a sick, twisted mind in this world of the wasteland that all these Mad Max characters inhabits, seeing different parts of the wasteland, how well staged the action is, and a lot of practical effects with the action, very similar to Fury Road. While it is not as good as Fury Road, it is a very nice companion piece to Fury Road, and George Miller took it to another level with practical effects and the action in this movie and the wide scope of the storytelling. Hopefully, Furiosa bombing at the box office doesn't mean we don't get another Mad Max movie, because I would love to see more in this world of the wasteland. All right, and my number 1 pick. For the longest time this year, it was Furiosa, but now my number 1 pick for best movie of the year and favorite movie of the year, to be honest with you, because I think there's a difference between best and favorite, but it just happens to be both, and that is The Wild Robot made me feel things I haven't felt in a movie in a long time. I walked out of this sobbing. Literally the one movie that made me cry all year. It's got emotion, it's got heart, it's got a lot of likable characters, with Chris Saunders being the animation king now and telling this story to the greatest of abilities. I don't know how this man continues to pull it off. It is DreamWorks' best movie in years. And rumor is we're getting sequels. And I cannot wait to see where the story goes from here. The Wild Robot is fantastic. If you haven't seen The Wild Robot, you are missing out completely. So those are my picks for the top 10 movies of the year. What are your picks? Drop me a comment in the comments section below. Coming soon will be my worst of the year list. Yes, I am still doing that despite everybody saying that we shouldn't do that anymore, but I am doing it. That's how I roll, okay? These filmmakers need to know. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.